Another inflation lie. Why constant growth is fake. Brandon Gentile here. There's an old saying that if you aren't growing, you are dying. Well, this is true in a sense, or maybe more accurately stated that life is constant change. Growth is not needed in business 24/7. This is only true in an inflationary world. You must keep growing your mind, though, your skills, your intellect. Inflation raises your time preference and doesn't allow you to think long term. It makes you do irrational things. This is very important to understand because we've all grown up in this inflationary world, this artificial world, this bubble world where we think we have to be continually just growing at all costs. And it couldn't be further from the truth. As Warren Buffett says, rule number one, don't lose money. He didn't say make money and grow at all costs. Even if I just stay even, I can take learning lessons and failures as wins and move forward, growing and getting better, waiting, biding my time, patience. As so many of the best investors and best entrepreneurs in the world have talked about forever, you have to strike when it's the right time. You have to understand market cycles. Warren Buffett is sitting on tons of cash right now. He was sitting on tons of cash in the GFC before that happened. He was ready to pounce when the time was right. Robert Kiyosaki invested $300 million, and the banks gave him millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to invest at the right time. And they pull back when things are overheated and are redlining. That's a huge distinction to make. We can grow mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally every single day. But companies themselves don't have to be growing every single second. That's physically impossible. Sometimes your company is gone because they're on maternity leave, or maybe they're on vacation, or maybe they are just something's happening in the world, or there's personal things going on in your life. It's literally impossible to grow every single day as a business and be doing more at all costs, no matter what. Again, don't get me wrong though. Getting better and trying to provide a better product, a better service for a better price is the goal every single day. But there's a distinction. I hope that's what we can see going forward, is that it's really this dichotomy. What I'm kind of saying and alluding to is what we've been talking about a lot, which is inflation versus deflation. We've been taught this inflationary world where inflation has to be 2%, which is really stealing your wealth. You're stealing your time, your money by 2% every single year. We have to keep printing more and more and more. Prices just keep going up. Oh, my house keeps going up in value. Oh, prices just keep going up. I got to keep getting a raise. Why? It's this burnout world we live in where now I got to keep doing more. I always got to keep doing more because someone's going to get ahead of me. I can't spend time with my family because, I've been very guilty of this over the years. Playing professional hockey and being an elite competitor and playing at the highest of levels, I always was thinking about what is my competitor doing, and I need to be doing something. I'm getting up in the middle of the night and going and take a run, going and shooting pucks, doing ridiculous things because I'm worried about what the other guys can be doing. Someone might be getting better than me. That mentality is great to have in many things in life. However, it can also be very detrimental if we're not careful. And this is something that in business, we're seeing this right now. We just saw Velshire Capital and Stansberry Research sharing that 20 to 25% of all businesses are zombie companies, meaning they can't afford the interest on the debt they have. That's insanity. That only happens in this inflationary world where market allocations are not incentivized correctly, resources are being spent illicitly, and just stupid, irrational decisions are being made, all at the expense of growth. And now we see these massive booms and busts we're going to come into. And believe me, we've been saying this for a while. It's going to get much worse before this gets better. 10, 20 years from now, things are going to be amazing. But in the meantime, we're going to have some very hard times and very hard lessons, very hard realities people are going to learn. I know I'm going to learn many things. There's things that, even though I love looking in the future and seeing what's coming and preparing accordingly, I know it worries me and it scares me because there's not things I know that are going to be just very gut-wrenching that I just can never have predicted. So, like I said, as Warren Buffett says, don't lose money. Don't be ridiculous. Be patient. And he always talks about the stock market. We love a lot of things Warren says. We don't like a lot of things Warren says. We have to remember, intelligence is on the edge of the coin. There's two sides to every coin, and intelligence lies on the edge. And that's where we have to be. And he always says the stock market is like a voting machine in the short term, and it's like a weighing machine in the long term. Again, take the learning lessons every single day. Grow each day. Grow your mind, your spirit, your intellect. Grow your mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Again, we have no idea what life will throw at us in this fiat currency system we are on. It's backed by nothing but confidence, taxes, and the barrel of a gun. And do nothing but prompt quarterly earning calls, and that people expect growth continually go up, and up. Hence, why more debt and more stimulus are required to be pumped into the system so that the rich get richer and the average Joe and Jane can feel like they are making out and don't storm the town square, heaven forbid. They look at their pension and 401k, the average Joe and Jane, perceive things are doing well as the nominal values of their retirements continually up, but the real value goes down. Because, however, when their retirement account is actually juxtaposed, contrasted to real assets, the reality of inflation rears its ugly head and living standards continually drop. Yet very few can see the damaging effects of money printing and debasement have until it's too late. Again, Jim Cramer is a poster child for buy, sell, and this gearing you up and getting you anxious and just getting you to do ridiculous, irrational things. And this guy's been so wrong so many times. Why people listen to people like this? Because it's follow the money. Wall Street paying these people to be just puppets in this game and to give you their money, my managed fund, my ETF, my 401k, and just bilk fees from you left and right, whether it goes up or down. They just get your fees and they get to go to the Hamptons, and then you're left wondering, why am I retiring on only $130,000? As we've seen, the average 401k just this past week or so, we've done articles and vlogs on how the average 401k has $133,000 in it, and the median has $33,000 in it. That is psychotic. Why anyone would continue doing that and listening to these schmucks, government, Wall Street, these shills on TV, beyond me. For a long time, I got flustered because I would see people doing ridiculous things in business and skating by somehow. And again, I was leaving professional hockey 10 years ago. I was an amateur in business and had a lot of good historical background, political historical background, and monetary background. But I was just learning. I was a rookie in the business world. And after 10 years, I came to a big realization, and it just happened really just in the last 2 years. Being able to sit at home more, ironically, be with my family more, sit at home a little bit more, and just settle down, relax a little bit more. Because for a long time I was getting flustered, again, seeing people do ridiculous things and somehow skating by, and even seemingly growing and getting ahead, which that's great. I'm all for merit. That's all I want in life is merit to play out. People getting what they deserve, but it has to work in both directions. People should get what they deserve in a positive way, and they should also get what they deserve in a negative way if they are bad actors or they make bad decisions. For years, I was caught in a system where I thought everything had to be growing. Otherwise, it meant you were dying, and that number had to continually rise. This could not be further from the truth. Your brain and your skills must keep growing. Personally, your brain must keep developing new neurological pathways. Because I would make the argument that if those things aren't happening upstairs, then yes, you are truly going backwards and dying. But businesses can't continually expand and grow every single year. That's damn near impossible. It's an unfair expectation to put on people. And again, like I said, this is more of an inflation-deflation argument. And there are people that are going to argue with me back and forth. And of course you can. You set goals. You do this and do that. That's great. And there are a certain amount of people who can do that. But the average person can't get ahead. Clearly, this system, as we are seeing now, is crumbling. It is going, again, right here. Does anyone want to look at the debt clock and tell me if that means our system is doing well? That right there is not sustainable. And that's my point with all of this. This system is completely unsustainable. We have debts that are through the roof and just continually going each day. Debt per taxpayer, 244 grand. Debt per citizen, 92 grand. Is that something that we think is sustainable? It's only because we have this inflationary system. If we had deflation, if we actually had real capitalism, free markets, and real entrepreneurship, we would have real allocation of capital. We would have prices coming down continually each year. Your value of your dollar would be worth more. However, it's not. But if you were in Bitcoin, the value, your life is continually getting cheaper. The value of your Bitcoin keeps going up and up and up over the last 13 years. And your life has become infinitely cheaper if you're holding Bitcoin. And that will mathematically happen going forward because we can mathematically guarantee that governments will print more currency. They have to print more currency because of this right here. So this is what guarantees us that will happen. The budgets, as you see here, that running federal deficits of 1.5 trillion a year, which will continue to grow. As we see, we'll check on the debt clock time machine. We'll see what happens when we go to 2026. So what does it say in 2026? It says, oh, we're still at 1.5 trillion a year. We're up to 40 trillion in national debt. We're up to 300,000 per taxpayer, 117 per citizen, 118 per citizen, 118,000. So again, this tells you mathematically they have to keep printing. They have to keep doing that. So Bitcoin will continue to grow in its value over time. I don't know what the price will necessarily do, but the value of it will actually increase dramatically over time, mathematically. Again, this is one man's opinion. But it has dawned on me in the last few years when I was able to sit back and relax more and breathe a sigh of just relief and just relax. In a system where our money doesn't leak value, like I said with Bitcoin, it doesn't leak value. The economic container we talk about, that's all money is. It's an economic container. It's a store of your time and energy. If that's not leaking, people can actually put in honest work, their capital will grow and not have to take on 3 jobs or work overtime, etc., unless they wanted to. Allocation of resources capital would be much more efficient, and it would flow to only the most productive businesses and entrepreneurs instead of being lost in a sea of unworthy and unscrupulous investors or entrepreneurs, or those that can suck the power teat best or get into politics. Again, really one of the 2 ways you can make money right now or become wealthy is investing in assets, which is what we've talked about forever on here. You have to invest in assets: Bitcoin, gold, silver, rental real estate, maybe stocks, stuff like that. You have to be in some type of asset that's going to go up over time, or at least hold over time. Stocks and real estate have just held over the last 12 years of money printing, or currency printing, I should say. Bitcoin has destroyed it. So you have to be in those things, or you have to run and become a politician. You have to become part of the bureaucracy, some part of the swamp, and get as close to the money spigot as possible. And we've seen the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the Dan Crenshaws, the people out there, the Mitch McConnells, the Chuck Schumers, the Warrens, the Sanders, these people that are at the power teat, literally have worked 0 jobs in their life, don't know how to run a business, but yet they're worth millions of dollars. And why is that? Because they're the closest to the power teat. They're the closest to the money printer. Deflation is a way of making everyone's standard of living higher and bringing prices down. We've been taught for 100 years that inflation is the only way to live. What we weren't told is the flip side of that same coin, that the elites and governments are the ones that benefit from that way of life through wars and just printing the currency, getting us into wars, and stealing all of our wealth. The average person only falls further and further behind and can't pinpoint exactly why. Again, the government-run schools aren't going to teach you. Public schools won't teach you this purposely. So that way this lie can be perpetrated over and over again, year after year. When you believe the lie that you must be growing at unsustainable rates every single quarter, it makes you do irrational things. It makes you start maybe cheating, makes you start doing unethical things. It makes you start doing things that are outside your conscience. It makes you have a higher time preference and sacrifice the future in order to gain in the present right now, as price signals are distorted through currency, printing, and debasement. When we have a low time preference, though, and deflationary money, we can take a breath and invest in the long term, knowing that there will be ups and downs and that over time we will be fine. This causes much less angst and stress. Society can take a collective sigh of relief and maybe lay off the antidepressants, coffee, pills, and narcotic use might just come down as well. This might seem outlandish, but outlandish thinking is what we need at a time like this in order to reverse the crumbling system. We need big ideas and people with courage to step up and change the culture and the paradigm that we've all been living in for the last 100 years. And again, business growth is great. That's wonderful. Merit is wonderful. Creative destruction is wonderful. I'm all for that. That's what I want. I want deflation. I don't want this inflationary world of just growth, 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 just because. Growth, 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 buy, 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 just because. That is insane. That's idiotic. And that's the world we're living in right now. It's doing ridiculous things because it's win at all costs. It's inflation at all costs. It's growth at all costs. This book, just got finished reading this book, some amazing books recently on Bitcoin. Unapologetic Freedom by Justin Rezvani, and Price of Tomorrow from Jeff Booth a few months ago I read, which is not really about Bitcoin. Only the last couple of pages are about Bitcoin, but it's all about technology and the future, creative destruction. It's amazing. Bitcoin, everything divided by 21 million. This is an unbelievable book. It will bend your mind. Please go read it. I didn't agree with some of the things in the book, but it really bent my mind. It really got me thinking. And so I really, really implore everyone to go read this book. And The Bullish Case for Bitcoin by Vijay Boyapati is another amazing, amazing book. I pray that we can take a deep breath and relax and find our calling. This is hard to do in an inflationary, growth-only world. Bitcoin gives us the protection, the shield that we need, as it's the only finite asset in the world besides our time. Those 2 things work in unison with each other because money is your time. And this is what Newt talks about in his book here, which is incredible and really, really dives down that rabbit hole. This is, again, Bitcoin is where we can be outside the system and grow wealthier over time while not having to be on the hamster wheel 24/7. Bitcoin gives us back time with our family and ability to think clearer, and the long term is brought into perspective. To responsible long-term thinking and growth. Stay strong. Please let me know. I know some people are going to have issue with this vlog potentially. Please let me know your thoughts, your comments. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel. Please share it with someone you think might enjoy it, might get something out of it. If you don't like it, again, please dislike. Please give us some questions, comments, concerns, things that we can get better at, have discourse publicly, and help everyone get better and grow. Because we really are, things are changing very drastically in this world, and we need to be on the precipice, on the forefront of this. So I appreciate you. Again, please go check our other videos talking about some of these things in the last week or two here about the senators talking to Fidelity and trying to shame Fidelity and how the 401k is destroyed. We need to do something different. This is that different thing where it's a money that cannot be controlled. It gives power back to the people from the state, as our founding fathers talked about. There's so many properties we've talked about over time at Bitcoin that check every single box of Gold 2.0. True FU money, not being confiscatable, you can't be censored, number go up technology, it's going to mathematically go up over time because it's the only finite thing we have, unlike currency we use now, the dollar, which mathematically goes down in value over time. I mean, there's so many things we've talked about over time that check all those boxes. This is the thing, Bitcoin is the thing I've been looking for a couple of decades since I really got into politics around 2000 in that election. So please, I implore you to study Bitcoin a little more, read a book, watch some videos. Some of the videos we have, check out, like I said, some of the other things we have, and going through what life could potentially be like on this standard. And this is a parallel system being built. This whole ecosystem and economy is being built right now. People, peer-to-peer systems. I talk to business owners every single day about using Bitcoin to transact in their business, and the Lightning Network built on top of Bitcoin to take out merchant fees. So no more merchant fees, 2-3% back in the business owner's pocket, making prices cheaper for the consumers, whether it's a haircutting place, the liquor store in the corner. I've talked to so many business owners, law offices. This is coming, whether we like it or not. This is not insurance. This is not in gold and silver. This is not real estate. This is something completely different that humans have never experienced before. That's the level of differentiation that Bitcoin gives people. Bitcoin is time. If you have Bitcoin, you are Bitcoin. Newt talks about this a lot in his book. If you are Bitcoin, if you hold the keys in your head, you are Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is you. There's no other asset like that. There's nothing in the world remotely possible. Bitcoin makes these things possible and changes the whole dynamics of the human species, quite honestly. And he bends your mind a lot in this book, and I implore you, please study it, read it, check it out. Appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.